Good. All good. Nice to chat again.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
I was just thinking back to our days at Stellenbosch, and the first memory came to me was when you were bowling at me and I was batting and I hit you over the top for six. Do you remember
You sure it wasn't the other way around?
that?
Yeah,
Def-
it's been a while. We've
Definitely
kind of
not.
followed each other around a bit, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah. It's good to catch up again.
Yeah, no, thank you very much once again for having me. It's cool. How's things been going on that side, Robs?
Yeah, all good. Not too bad. Dealing with the situation as best we can.
Mm.
So, yeah, not too bad. Let's get started. We'll just start with a quick self introduction. Just let us know where you are currently, where you've come from, and all the stuff in between.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, so obviously started up with undergrad at Stellenbosch University. Naturally, that's where me and you had our clashes in the nets at Marty's cricket. Uh, and then from there, headed over to UCT to do my bio degree there. And once again, you were there, and obviously Wayne was there as well. And then followed that up with an internship at the High Performance Center at Sports Science. Which was good. Got an opportunity to move back to Stellenbosch to work with Western Province Rugby and Stellenbosch Academy of Sport, and was consulting with the Stellenbosch Academy of Sport a bit, working in some private practice over there, working primarily in rugby sevens, and obviously some track and field athletes.
Okay.
And then now, most recently, about almost a year ago, got an opportunity to work with the newly established Stellenbosch Football Club, which is owned by the Stellenbosch Academy of Sport. And yeah, so
Okay.
my transition has started into football.
Yeah. And just going back to the years you spent at the High Performance Center, what do you think those years did for you in terms of laying a foundation for your career? What are the main things that you sort of took out of that internship?
Yeah, look, I think the Sports Science Institute, and most notably the High Performance Center, it's an excellent place. It's an excellent place to start your career. It's an excellent place to be based at. I think it's very dynamic. You got tons of athletes coming in and out. Like I mentioned, when I was there, I was very fortunate, to have people like yourself, like Wayne, mentor me and assist me. And obviously, with Justin being there, used to head up that used to manage the HB, it was great characters around us. And
Hmm.
I think they allowed us the opportunity and the trust, to grow as an individual, but obviously, have rigid frameworks and rationales in place that kind of guide us, down the correct path. So yeah,
Sure.
it was a great process, and a lot of opportunity to experiment, learn. Obviously discussed a lot of things, debated a lot of things. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Some good years, some good memories, and long hours.
Yeah, and some good gym sessions.
Some good years.
Yeah.
You've worked with a lot of different sports. How do you think is that an advantage to you in terms of your coach development?
Yeah, I think obviously, I mean, different sports teach you different things. I think, when it comes back to, firstly identifying, what your athlete needs, regardless of what sport you're in. I think, a lot of sports have shared principles,
Mm.
but then there are sports that, are very specific, or certain principles of very sports that are very, very specific and, very individualistic or individualized. Um, so I think, yeah, I think it's helped a lot. I think, coming from a consultancy based perspective at HB, where we worked with a lot of one-on-one athletes, and then more or less learning to deal with an athlete as an individual, number one, and then
Mm.
applying that to their sport, number two, helped a lot in terms of
Sure.
fostering, developing, and creating relationships with the athletes. And then obviously, like, it was a nice step into a team environment and a team dynamic, where then it's about applying bigger scale things with in a team perspective, when that was mostly in rugby. And
Sure.
then now looking at how those kind of experiences have shaped me in a completely different environment, which is football. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think in the long run, it's definitely helped. Yeah.
And how have you found that transition from rugby into football? Football obviously has quite a unique S&C culture, I think. So coming
Yeah.
from rugby, how have you found that transition?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been challenging. I think I can put this out there. I think it's the culture is very driven by also the generation that you find yourself in with the players that you work. That's what I found
Sure.
personally. I think looking at working with high school athletes back in South Africa from a rugby perspective versus working with professional rugby players of age versus professional footballers, there's a lot of very similar characteristics that are shared across multiple different pillars.
Mm.
But I think with the football, you've got kind of like three subcategories. I think you've got teams that are football first. They like to say they're football purists, and everything must be done in relation to football. And if it doesn't involve football, it's not specific enough to football, which is very much Raymond Varane kind of style. Then you've
Sure.
got the guys on the other side, which is going to be more your traditional S&C coaches, with a track and field background or a weightlifting background that are going to drive a weight room protocol or a weight room program, or don't believe in utilizing, let's say, the sport itself in the context of the conditioning process. And then you probably have your coaches of best fit, which kind of sit in between those two. And I think where you sit on that scale is probably it's got to do with your relationship with your coach as well. So what I've realized and picked up in the past year is that, the freedom and the liberty that your coach and your coaching staff give you kind of dictates and drives how you can also run your program from an HP perspective.
Yeah, sure. And what's your current setup at the moment with Stellenbosch in terms of your high performance unit?
Yeah, so it's a new gig, it's a new setup. I think just some background for the guys that don't know. So Stellenbosch Football Club, I think it's about in its fourth year. It was originally Vasco da Gama. It got purchased by SAS and then rebranded and moved to Stellenbosch. And then, naturally with the goal of developing a pathway for footballers in the Winelands area, similar to how Marty's has been for rugby and for cricket, right? So that was the goal. And then within the third year of the company or the club being established, we managed to get ourselves up into the Premier Soccer League, into the PSL, which was obviously last year this time. So this has kind of been our first year in the big time, if you want to call it that. And, some structuring has been taking place. I've come in, and obviously our head physio have been both brought in on a full-time basis, which is awesome, because prior to that, we were both, more as consultants and part-time. Then now it's with the goal of looking to grow the club further. We've brought in 2 junior sports scientists, one as a biokineticist to work with under 23 team, and then one as a sports scientist to kind of head up our research, education, and development, and kind of work across the board. And then we've got further kind of plans down the line to, work with the university, collaborate with the university, and head up our long-term athlete development program within the Stellenbosch Greater region.
Yeah, sure. You guys got an awesome setup there in terms of facilities. So makes sense to use everything that's around you in terms of the university and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, of course. No, I think we're very privileged and blessed and honored to, have like a backbone like SAS, the Stellenbosch Academy, which, provides us with these facilities, whether it's, medical facilities, physical development facilities or training grounds. I think, if you compare us with other clubs in the country, we're probably, up there with, some of the bigger clubs like Chiefs and Pirates when we have these kind of accessibility to these facilities. So it'd be foolish not to kind of, maximize the exposure we have and maximize the ability to develop ourselves as athletes.
Yeah, sure. Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi?
I think as an S&C coach, I'm more driven towards Cristiano Ronaldo just because of his athleticism.
Yeah. Right,
take some slack. Yeah, exactly. We're both S&C coaches. We're coming from the same side. If you were to ask a football perspective, you'd probably say Messi. But yeah, it's Ronaldo. Ronaldo's where it's at, just because how professional he is from a, maybe he's a little bit more, out there than Messi is, but, he's a top athlete, looks after himself, and, that's what you kind of, aspire to work with as a S&C coach.
Yeah, sure. Just quickly, tactical periodization. You put up a post on our Instagram page the other day. Can you just go into a little bit more detail in terms of how you actually apply the concept in your setting with football?
Yeah.